Welcome, everyone, to the Q&A session for our upcoming course, the Awakening Your Kundalini Advanced Program, an initiation into raising your vibration and bridging heaven and earth. I'm Lisa Bunnies, and I'm really excited to be hosting this Q&A conversation for the Shift Network, where we'll explore the teachings of Raja Choudhury and address questions about his upcoming 21-week course, Awakening Your Kundalini Advanced Program, which begins Tuesday, May 29th. Later, I'll explain how you can participate in this course even if you can't attend the live sessions or even if you haven't taken Raja's previous course. But first, I want to introduce our guest. In a personal quest of over 20 years, Raja Choudhury has comparatively explored most of the great and some unknown wisdom traditions of the world and has experienced many teachings and transformative methodologies firsthand. His own shift occurred in 2006 when he underwent a dramatic Kundalini awakening that rewired his system and opened up a whole new universe of potential. Raja has created numerous documentary films on wisdom and consciousness, including Spirituality in the Modern World with Ken Wilber. In 2014, he was awarded India's prestigious National Film Award for his film The Quantum Indians. He's also given a TED Talk on Indian wisdom for today's world in 2012 and a TEDx talk in 2015 on yoga. And in just a few minutes, we're going to open up for your questions. But first, I want to welcome Raja, who's going to lead us off by starting us in an opening practice. Welcome, Raja. It is so great to talk to you today.
How nice to be here. Blessings, everybody. And thank you for having me here again. It's wonderful to be with you. And I want you to visualize an energy with me. Imagine that a beautiful energy above you is coming into you. And at the base of your spine, you can feel an energy stirring as my voice and this energy begins to come down into you. And as it comes down and begins to stir, at the beginning, at the start of it all, it is Om. Om. And as it descends, it becomes As it splits into two in my body, in my left and right side, it becomes Reem and Shreem. And as it goes down through the three worlds and my three brains, it becomes Ain, Kleem, Soul. And then when the Kundalini starts to rise with me now, we hear the bead sounds of each center along the path. And they are Lam, Vam, Ram, Yam, Ham, Om. And we bless this gathering with Shreem, Shreem, Shreem. Bless you.
Wow, thank you, Raja. I can always feel that from the other side of the world whenever you do that. Thank you. So we have the rest of our time together to dive into our viewers' questions for Raja as we prepare for his upcoming course. Again, that's called Awakening Your Kundalini Advanced Program, which begins Tuesday, May 29th. And if you want to check out the website and learn more about the 21-week course, you can visit awakeningyourkundalini.com to see the full description. So let's go ahead and get started. If you have questions for Raja, go ahead and type them in, and I'll be happy to read them aloud. And we've got some questions already waiting. So let's go ahead and get started with a question from Penny. And actually, many people are asking this same question. Penny's asking, how can you tell when your Kundalini is awakened? And then she adds, how long does it stay awakened? And is this something that you have to do daily?
So think of it this way, that Kundalini is like a potential energy that you have stored up at the base of your spine. And your body moves energy. In the Indian esoteric tradition, it's called through a practice of prana. Prana means the life force, like chi and qigong. It is like this pranic force flows through your whole body. And when you bring in prana from outside and you with intention awaken this Kundalini energy at the base of your spine, Kundalini itself travels up the middle of the spinal cord. But in order to prepare the journey for her to travel up, you have to activate prana through these 7 centers we have in our body. And the preparation of the cleaning and clearing and opening of those centers is most of the work. Then once the cleaning and energization of this energy occurs, it starts to stir the bottom of your spine, and it does feel sometimes like something is swirling, like a lum, and it starts to move up. And as you proceed through the work we do, you will gradually take it up higher and higher. Now, at first, you will experience it. It might be ecstatic. Sometimes it'll be a little painful. Sometimes you might have scary images. You might have ecstatic images and beautiful images. But you automatically will be able to steady it through the lower practices of the lower part of the body. And once you learn how to control this energy that's swirling, you will find it starts to rise. Now, what happens is that when it rises, until it gets to about the heart area, it keeps going down. It goes up and down. And for most people, it stays down. It comes up once in a while during meditation or during ecstatic experience or sensual experiences or meditation or ecstasy or seeing a sunset or listening to music. It just comes up by itself. But if we learn to sustain it, after a while, you will be able to pull it up very quickly. And eventually, it starts to live in the heart center, which is where you learn to live in the world. But then you can also travel with it all the way up and open all the centers in the head. And once those centers open, then you're tapping into higher consciousness and you're pulling down this intelligence into you. So you live in the heart, you lift the Kundalini energy up, and then an amazing sacred grace descends into you and you sit at the heart. And this is where the lotus of the heart opens and you act in the world. So we have to learn how to get it to the heart and then travel further up and live at the heart as well.
Okay, thank you. Then let's go on with Rena, who also asked, how do you know when it's awakened? But she also adds, is this possible for anyone to do?
So put it this way, the potential energy is in each and every person. It comes in during your gestation in your mother's womb, and it is like a sacred energy. In Tibetan Tantra, in modern neuroscience, they're considering it to be this substance called DMT that goes into the cerebrospinal fluid that seems to give the gestating baby around the 49th day this sense of consciousness, this awareness of themselves and their mother and their environment. And what happens is that this energy that provides this consciousness seems to be the energy that becomes dormant at the base of your spine after you are born, because your need for it in survival is not as great as your need for it in those initial stages of emerging consciousness. So it just sits there. Now, what the ancient seers and shamans and mystics and sadhus of India and all over the world, from Egypt to Mesopotamia, you see it everywhere, discovered was that certain techniques, whether it's hallucinogenic plants or meditation or breath control or rhythmic music or fasting, can activate this energy back up and send you up there, right? So the issue for you is where that you've always had this energy. Everybody has this energy, but we don't wake it up in our everyday lives. So once you take the journey to start awakening it, you will have experiences, you will see transformations in your life. And eventually, if you keep with it, it becomes a companion and an energy friend that makes this vertical spine a bridge between heaven and earth. And you are the perfect harmonious being between the two. That's the whole idea.
Okay, beautiful explanation. Thank you. Let's go to a question here from Carrie, who says, the Shreem chant that you offered was very powerful. What does that word mean?
So if we look at the esoteric meaning of it, which is the most important, is that in Tantra and most mystical cultures of the world, the first emanation of the coming into being of the universe was through the sound, was this logos, the sound, the utterance, the first utterance, which was considered in the tantric tradition and Vedic tradition to be Om, this sound of nothing hitting anything else. Om. And this sound was pure consciousness. There was no form, there was no structure, no particles, no matter, just energy fluctuating. And that sound gave rise to the first forms. They started to bubble up from this consciousness. And that first empty beginning was Shiva. Shiva emanated, and when the first particles began to emerge and the first energy started to convert into matter, this was Shakti. And what happens is that the sound of Shiva, when it comes into the body, is Ha. Harim. Ha means the explosion of Shiva inside you. So consciousness comes into your body and explodes and becomes Ha. Ra means the sound of the fire in your body that lights that energy up. And Im is the sound of the river of consciousness coming from above and descending into you. And then on that, when you are a full-formed being, you are in a state which is now Shreem. Sha means Shakti, the auspicious one, the one of grace, of beauty, of perfect divine form. You are this perfect form, Sha. And then you have the Ra, which is fire, and Im of consciousness. So as you return back and on the out breath, Shreem comes. And the Shreem means I am meditating on the auspicious nature, on the beautiful nature of my being, of the universe, of everything around me. And I'm attracting that energy back to me. And that's what Shreem means. And Shreem is the sound of the sacred feminine, the Devi, the Shakti that lives inside you and is in everywhere around in the universe as well.
Right, thank you for that. We've got a question here from Joanne, who says, Namaste, Raja. I'm very thankful that you're starting this 7-month Kundalini Awakening course. My physical form is in the throes of many menopausal symptoms right now, and I'm being made aware of how vital it is to let the Kundalini energy rise within my form now. My question is, with ongoing hot flashes, would you say that the Kundalini energy is already starting to move? It feels like a huge burn-off is happening.
Well, when you do the first part of the course that many of the students who are joining me have gone through already, of the 7 parts that we just did, first 2 or 3 parts we spend on the lower chakras, in the Manipura at the navel. We spend it in the stomach, in the sexual area where all your estrogen and other things are forming and are going into their chaos as you go through these cycles and changes. We're dealing with Muladhara, which it's the space between your anus and your cervix. So these 3 parts are very much the first domain, the first sun we deal with. And learning to light a fire, control your fear, deal with the hormone levels, control your release of chemicals in the body, learn to handle food and convert the prana energy into you, and to let go of your karmic luggage of burning it is very much a part of the early stages of the work we do. And I'm going to spend the first month dealing with prana in our advanced course. So I will teach you the 7 techniques of raising your awareness and burning your bad karma. But in the first month alone, we will spend a lot of time dealing with prana and how this energy that starts to flow once Kundalini begins to rise is actually a cleansing, cathartic, healing energy that can happen in any point of transition of your life, whether it is, at adolescence or at early stages of sexuality, in late sexuality, in menopause. It doesn't matter. In motherhood, this can occur, and Kundalini can work at every one of those stages. So you will find that you will experience not what you are experiencing right now, which is these hot rushes of energy surging up the spinal cord and the feeling of heat. Those are early stages. You will begin to feel specific things at particular parts of your body, and then you will know that Kundalini is beginning to rise. And I'll show you how to do that. Thank you.
Okay, great, thanks. Got a question here from Kathleen, who says, is aggressive breathing part of this work?
Only at certain stages, because as I said, we were talking about prana, and prana is the first stage of energization and activation of this energy that pumps up the Kundalini, up the cerebrospinal fluid, up the spine, and through the back of your head and up. Now, that early stage of dealing with the stomach, with the energy inside your body, this has to be awoken through some what we call buns, locks, and certain rhythmic types of breathing, which are not aggressive. And most of the people who have been through this will find that it's actually quite relaxing to do deep rhythmic breathing. It is, equivalent of what people do in holotropic breath work or in shamanic breath work. It is very similar. It is hara breathing in the deep stomach areas, like in Qigong, and it is very much about that area between the navel, the yoni, and the diaphragm and then the solar plexus. This area, the hara, or what we call the nabhi in Tantra, is the space in which we will learn to do rhythmic breathing and to control our urges, our fears, all our issues that we're dealing with in everyday life. We'll burn our bad karma and we'll release energy to rise up and flow into the higher regions as we deal with the first few elements of earth, water, and fire at the 3 lower levels.
Okay, thanks. Got a question here from Bharati, who says, if Shakti is down in Muladhara and Shiva in Sahasrara, why 2 serpents go up to meet Shiva? What are these 2? Shakti divided into 2?
Well, no, it's the esoteric concept of the 2 serpents are what we call nadis. These are energy channels inside the body that carry this information. And on the left side, we have what is called the Ida Nadi, which is the sacred Shakti Nadi, which is energy descends down it to form the body, to form creativity, to go into desire. This left side is all about the spiritual longing, about the heart, about love, compassion, kindness, that the spiritual nature of mankind. The right side, which is called the Pingala, which is it's considered to be the masculine energy, which is to be willpower, action, consciousness, those areas that we try and run the world better, that we are always trying to get somewhere or do something in an achievement point of view. Now, the left side is holistic and the right side is linear. And this directly connects to either side of the brain. So the left side connects to the right side of the brain and the right side connects to the left side of the brain. And they cross here at the third eye, and they cross at different points in the body. So you have intersections where union occurs, which are at the throat, at the Agya chakra, at the heart, at the navel, Nabhi, Manipura, at the Swadhisthana and at the Muladhara. These points are the intersection junctions or chakras of this serpent energy that seems to dance as it goes up. So the duality you're seeing is the Ida Pingala movement of prana as it goes up the two centers. Then both the serpents point at the pineal gland in the middle of your Brahma's cave in your head. And when they point there, from Muladhara, Kundalini begins to rise up the central spinal Shushumna. The central canal is called the Shushumna. And this passage is the Kundalini rising passage. It's like if you imagine, you can feel it just with me right now by sucking in a cool breeze, like a whistling sound. You will feel a cool breeze going up your spine. And this gives you a little glimpse of what that passage will feel like as it goes up. So all the swirling, dramatic, experimental, extreme energies you will feel are Ida and Pingala and Prana swimming through all the nadis of your body. But once Kundalini begins to rise, experiences stop, sounds stop, visions stop, and you have transformation. And then Kundalini goes from Muladhara to Sahasrara. She is Shakti at both Sahasrara and Muladhara. Shiva is the formless one that is all consciousness beyond the body. So the union of Shiva Shakti finally occurs above the Sahasrara when Shiva and Shakti meet, and union, we go into that Shivoham state of Advait, or non-dualism. And this is, over the 7 months, I'm going to teach you all the different ways of energizing, mapping, circulating this garland of letters through your body, designing the matrix of your being through a Sri Chakra Meru, coming to the heart and awakening the Shiva Shakti, the heart center, awakening the throat, awakening the third eye, turning up inwards, and then seeing the union of Shiva Shakti in that cosmos above you. So this is the journey we're going to take.
Okay, thank you. We've got a question here from Ruby, who says, I don't have the complete knowledge of Kundalini Yoga, but every time I've tried to know more, someone will tell me if not done right with the right guru or not done in the right way, it can be dangerous. Can you please explain what I can expect during this course? And doing this course online, will it be the same as doing it with a guru?
See, the tradition of Kundalini awakening comes from what is called the Kaula tradition. Kaula or Kula is an Indian word which means, a Sanskrit word, which means the lotus petals, the petals of a lotus. So the Kula tradition is the awakening of this energy through these lotus petals in your body. Now, in history and throughout time, these were relayed in oral traditions from teacher to student, and it was given in such a way that you're talking about pre-internet, pre-television, pre-video, where the guru would transmit this information to the student in three ways. One was the use of mantra, which was sound. The second was the use of breathing and locks and bands in the body. And the third was a Shakti path, a transmission of the guru's own awakening to the student, so that their Kundalini would always begin to stir just by itself, so they could get a taste of it, and then that stirring could lead to further evolution of their own psyche, so they could begin to work on the Kundalini. Now, this was the ancient guru culture, and Kaula was always transmitted as a transmission. It was given from a teacher to a student, and then the student would then practice and become their own teacher. Now, today, guru culture has changed, and guru culture has become institutional. It has become about, so we have lost the idea of the transmission culture that leads to the receiver becoming an adept themselves. That means that if I teach you and I transmit to you and I share this knowledge with you and I give you my Shakti, can I let you wake up your Shakti? Now, I have done this for a few years now, since my own awakenings and my deep studies, and I'm telling you, it works. You can share this energy, and we are going to collectively experience Shakti. So I am not a, secretive Shakti Pad giver. My most important teacher was Guruji Amritananda of Devipuram, and he put all the mantras, everything out onto the internet for everybody to try. What he did do was that he would do transmissions if you came to him and took initiation from him. The same thing is happening here. I am not a guru, but I am transmitting to you. And that makes me your teacher. But you will start having stirrings and awakenings. And then the deeper you go, the more you will become your own guru. And that's my purpose in life, is to help you to become your own inner guru, to awaken yourself, and to then work with me and others in the community to keep that journey going and to become beacons of light in the world.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you. Let's go to a question here from Susan, who says, how does one awaken Kundalini energy while living a busy life, working to pay the bills, versus living in a quiet retreat setting?
Well, I can't tell you anybody else's story, but I can tell you mine, because I was, in 1998, I was 34 years old, and I started meditating for the first time. Now, before that, I'd done martial arts, I'd done all kinds of things, and as a kid, we'd done rituals at home, but I didn't believe in God. I didn't believe in Ma Kali. My father practiced worship Ma Kali, and I found it all very entertaining, but I never took it very seriously. I went into martial arts. I was kind of an atheist. I was probably agnostic in many ways. I was, living a good material life. I smoked, I drank, I did everything. I, tried medicine plants. I did the works. And I was doing martial arts, and that kept my discipline, especially Aikido and Qigong. They kept me on the discipline of understanding body energy. And when I got to 34, I started reading deeply about Kundalini, and I took my initial initiations from the Self-Realization Fellowship, and I worked with teachers of the Ramakrishna Mission on learning about that. I learned Kriya Yoga, I learned Raja Yoga, I learned Laya Yoga, and then I learned about Sri Vidya and Shakti Tantra. And this method allowed me to have my awakenings about 7 or 8 years later in 2006, which I now continue to evolve from. Now, in 2006, when this awakenings occurred, I was a creative director in New York. I was earning good money. I was living the great life. And this awakening occurred. And yes, there was a huge temptation to say, good God, I want to go and taste this completely. But I kept doing the work I was doing. And actually what happened, I found a very interesting thing happens. As long as you maintain a deep inner cave in yourself, in your head, whether it is in an apartment in New York or in the cave in the Himalayas, it doesn't matter. The cave is in your head. If you can maintain a place where you can connect to this source over and over again, when you live in the world, you actually realize you're playing an observer drama, and you play your role very well. So as a result, I won more awards and did more creative work in the 11, 12 years after that than I did before. So it was a tremendously creative period for me. Financially also, it was very rewarding. So one finds that at first, the euphoria, the ecstasy can lead you to want to just meditate all the time and to taste it all the time. But then something comes in which allows you to thrive in the world. And Shakti doesn't want you to be materially unsuccessful. She is going to look after you, this energy. She will bring abundance, she will bring wellness and well-being. She will give you skin glowing and make you strong and Shakti. You will never fall ill very much, maximum for a day. You will become stronger and vertical, and all this starts to happen. And when that happens, you can live both lives very well. So enjoy.
That's good to know. Thanks. And if you're just joining us, we're here with Raja Choudhury, learning about his upcoming course, Awakening Your Kundalini Advanced Program, which begins on Tuesday, May 29th. And you can log on to awakeningyourkundalini.com for all the details and to register. So let's get back to questions. We've got a question here from Swanika who says, what is the difference between a guru and a teacher?
Actually, all teachers, whether it is your kindergarten teacher or your music teacher or your spiritual teacher, are gurus. Because a guru literally means one who removes darkness or ignorance. And so the reason that the word guru has taken on unfortunate connotation now is that it has become a glorified status of a god man or a god woman, and that means that they become the object of worship rather than the illuminator of the path. The original Kaula tradition says that the guru is one who tries to show you the moon and points towards it, but knows that you can't see the moon. So instead, they point at a tree branch, and when you look at the tree branch, you see the moon through the tree branch, and you discover what the moon is, and then you become one with the moon. Now, once you've pointed the way of the guru, you've got to get out of the way and let the student become their own guru. And then you just be their companion, their friend, their guide, their coach, whatever you want to be. But you're not meant to be the object of worship in that game. So the problem for most people today is that the guru has become an object of worship, while a guru should be a guide, a friend, and a slightly more advanced practitioner who kicks you up the butt and sends you on your way and holds your hand when you get scared and shows you different things and then lets you go, and then you discover your own path. So yes, I would say that for part of the journey, I'm your guru. And then after that, I'm your friend, your companion, your buddy, and your fellow traveler. I've been practicing a little bit longer than you, that's all. And I know a little bit more than you do, only for now. You'll catch up. You will start becoming my teacher soon. That's what I hope anyway.
Terrific, thank you. We've got an anonymous question here that says, do you have to be a vegetarian to work with Kundalini? I have health issues that make that very difficult, but I know it's common recommendation in yogic practices.
Okay, so first of all, confession number one, I am not a vegetarian. And I mean, I avoid, what it is that I want us to think about something in a different way. Think of food as a source of vibrational energy for your body. Now, certain foods, when consumed, fruits and vegetables and raw vegetables and light foods are very good for brain work. They keep you light, they keep your brain stimulated and active. You can actually meditate better. Certain foods make you lethargic, like if you're gluten intolerant or dairy intolerant, you start getting bloated. Now, how can you meditate when you feel like that? And the other issue, certain foods also make you more aggressive. Certain foods make you more dormant and placid. In fact, in the yogic Ayurvedic system, you're described in three categories, which is sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic. Sattvic means spiritually inclined. That means the food that makes you spiritual, makes you feel light, makes you feel happy, not bloated, free to meditate for long periods. Then there's food that makes you rajasic, which is aggressive and live in the world. So I eat a good steak and then I go fight or whatever I do. And I can eat proteins and things like that. And then there's food that makes me tamasic, which is lethargic, slow. I want to sleep a lot. I feel dopey. And me, if I eat cheese, for example, I start feeling like that. If I eat a pizza, I start feeling very sleepy. And if I start eating certain other things, I'll start feeling sleepy. So it's not about whether it is a meat or a vegetable or a bean. What we find is what is the vibrational frequency of the food and how does it convert into ojas in my body, which is the liquid stuff in my body, and the prana in my body, the energy in my body, and how can I manage that? So the secret is to eat less, to eat right, and to balance it. And each body type has a different need. We'll go into that during this course as well. Body types, food types, ojas, prana, all of that.
Wonderful. Looking forward to that. We've got a question here from Mata who says, hello, I've been following your Facebook Lives and love them. Can you explain more about the gods and goddesses that live in the chakras? You said before that Ganesha is at the bottom and Lalita at the top, but what about the chakras in between?
Okay. So, first of all, let us try and understand what we mean by gods and goddesses, because there is a Abrahamic God, which is an all-perceiving father figure, Yahweh, Haveh, that is beyond our comprehension, from whose emanation we have come. And because of the descent of man, we have lost our connection to him, and we then returning to that connection through our activities and meditation in the world. So that means God outside me and me, little me, trying to struggle to return to my Father. Now, the Indian tradition goes a different route. It says that all consciousness, all pervading consciousness, can be given different names like Brahman or Shiva or Paramatma, the ultimate soul, all mind, Buddha mind. It is all mind. It is consciousness without form. Now, when it comes into being, the tradition goes that this is Shakti. This is the manifestation of that consciousness in physical form, in energy form, in prana, in Shakti, in my body, in elements. Now, when this comes in, a sacred geometry forms. And in fact, one of the ways we do it in the course is we do the mapping of the Sri Chakra Meru, which is a diagram of your body as a sacred temple of this energy descending into the top of your head and then descending and forming your whole body. So these are your thighs at the bottom, and this is the base of earth. So if you imagine that from earth to heaven, you are the bridge, the conduit. The energies here around the body, whether they are by the chakras and the lotus petals of the chakras, or whether it is the triangles of the Sri Chakra Meru or Yantra, these are energy vibrations, and each vibration has a sound. So if I say the sound, Aim, Kleem, Sol, Sol, Kleem, Aim, I'm calling the sound of this point at the top of my head. If I say the sound Shri, I'm vibrating at the heart. If I say Kli, again it's the heart. Each of these sounds has different parts in the body. So they can be along the lotus petals, and there are 108 of these petals and chakras that we will find and we do the course together. And then there are 43 triangles that we go through in the Sri Chakra that gives us about 128 different energies. Now, each of these energies is given a name. And each of these energies is given a Shakti title. And that's where the goddesses come in. So you have gods, you have goddesses, all having attributes at different junctions in this energy system or through your body. And these are called nadis. So we have 7 main nadis, which are called the chakras, that go up the spine. And each of those nadis have petals that form channels going out into the body. The main one being the heart, which seems to have 72,000 nadis going into the body. And each of these nadis is then controlling the elements, the being, the prana, the apana, the samana, all these energies in your body, and the ojas, the tejas, all these energies are in your body. And once we understand that this is what the goddesses are, so if I say I'm going to meditate upon Lalita, then I have it at the top of my head, and I know I can imagine that energy descending into me, 1,000-petal lotus on my head and coming down. If I say it's Bhairavi, then it sits at the bottom of my Muladhara. And there also sits Ganesh, which is the gatekeeper. He is, and you will discover these stories with me as we go deeper into this course, and they're in the first course as well. And there's a story for each of these. And what you have to remember is the problem with religion is that we get caught up with the story, and we don't understand the deep esoteric meaning of what each sound or meaning of that identity or metaphor means. And I am here to clear that mark and give you the clear, esoteric meaning of each sound so that you go to the core of it, the beej, and from there awaken the consciousness.
Okay, very helpful. Thank you. We have time for a few more questions, but people are also asking about the course itself. So let me go ahead and take a minute to give a few details about the course. Again, it's called Awakening Your Kundalini Advanced Program. And this is going to be a really powerful 20-week journey under Raja's expert guidance. I've been working with Raja during his previous course for 7 weeks, and this is good stuff. And during the advanced course, you'll learn to open your heart and the third eye, align your inner energy with the energy of the universe, and become more intuitive, fearless, courageous, and peaceful. And the 21-week course takes place on Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Pacific, starting Tuesday, May 29th. And if you can't join us live, that's fine. You won't miss the teachings. You will receive audio and video recordings, transcripts, and all course handouts on your course homepage. And also, we offer a no-risk money-back guarantee on all of our courses. And we're giving you a full 3 weeks, in this case, until June 19th, to make sure that you absolutely love it. And as an added option, all participants are welcome to connect in a private Facebook community group so you can stay connected with one another and also with Raja, who's very active in the group. Also, everyone who registers receives the Awakening Your Kundalini Advanced Program bonus collection. And first, everyone who signs up for the advanced program will also receive the entire Awakening Your Kundalini introductory training. And this was Raja's previous 7-week course that led up to this advanced course. And that includes the entire bonus collection for that course. And you can see all the details on the website, awakeningyourkundalini.com. And also, the Kundalini Awakening meditation video on the course homepage, which you'll have instant access to upon registration, is the place to start with the 7-week course, allowing yourself to fill in with the rest as you prepare for the advanced course. And there's also no problem to catch up on past modules during the breaks that you'll have each month. Also, the Awakening Your Kundalini original price, the first course, was $297, and that's included in your registration for the advanced course. And bonuses for this specific course, you will also receive a video by Raja entitled Yoga Aligning to the Source. Then you'll get a video teaching from Raja called The Garland of Letters, Creating a Sacred Geometry in Your Body. Also, you'll receive another video from Raja, this one entitled Guruji Amritananda. And when you register by midnight Pacific on Tuesday, May 22nd, you will receive additional bonus gifts. First, you'll receive an audio recording from Arjun Das entitled Guided Meditation on the 9 Planets and Sri Yantra. And you'll get a video dialogue with Heather Ash Amara entitled Warrior Goddess Training, Claim Your Power, Passion, and Play. So, Raja, before we get back to questions, why don't you tell us a little about what are you most looking forward to sharing in the upcoming advanced course?
I think the most important thing I want everybody to understand is that people come at first with a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of fear of unknown, what might happen to me, what do you think will happen. So with the way we have planned it and structured it is a very gentle, steady process of deep immersion going up the body. So if I want you to imagine that you're starting at Earth and you're going to heaven. And your body, your spinal cord, your architecture, your geometry, your entire being is the bridge between heaven and earth. It is like a flute, a magic flute that you're going to learn to be a musician, and you're going to learn to be a magician, and you're going to transform sound into energy. You're going to transform light and visions into energy. You're going to transform feelings into energy. And once this energy starts to rise, a magical thing begins to happen to you. You start to feel music in your soul. You start to play the notes of the flute along your spinal cord. And what I'm going to teach you is, and you will see it in the first 7 weeks, and I would like, I admit, all of you that joined me for the first time to watch those videos, especially the Kundalini Awakening guided meditation video, which is about 35-40 minutes long. Practice that and then go back to the notes, the deepening practices, the videos, and learn about the stuff we've done already, which takes us from Muladhara all the way to Sahasrara, and how to get there. And I will recap all this in the beginning. So my first part will be to get you all to a comfortable level together in the first week or two. And then we're going to go upwards. We're going to go through prana. We're going to go up the spine. We're going to draw sacred geometry of garland of letters in our body. We're going to learn about the Sri Chakra Meru I showed you earlier, and how to draw your own sacred geometry. We're going to learn about the heart and how to heal and how to live well in the world and protect yourself. And then we're going to go to the higher regions and open. And before we get to the higher regions, I'm also going to introduce you to your subconscious mind through Kali and the Mahavidyas. And then when you get to the third eye, we'll open up this beautiful Brahma's cave in your head, and you will start to navigate around it by the time we get to November. And by the time we get to the end of the course, we're going to move to the Shiva Shakti merging above your head and experience super consciousness and the oneness. So we're going to go from absolute darkness of earth to the vast emptiness of heaven, but in a beautiful pillar of light that you're creating in your body. And I'm going to teach you how to build that pillar, that flute, and we're going to play music on it together. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Got a question here from Carmen, and this seems to be a common question for people who are wondering about catching up. So let me read what Carmen says. She says, I've signed up for the 21-week course, and I'm now working through the 7 first prerequisite classes. However, I only have 2 weeks to go over those 7 classes, so it feels quite intensive. My question is, will the fact that I'm taking only 2 to 3 days between each class and doing the practices only for those 2 to 3 days before going to the next class, will this affect the overall integration of learning for the rest of the 21 weeks?
Okay, so first thing I would suggest is that there's a video in your course page when you sign up called Awakening Your Kundalini Meditation. This is a 35-minute meditation technique that is the entire teaching, apart from the deep mantras, of the 7 weeks that I've been teaching. Try that every day for the next week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, because even when we start next Tuesday, there'll still be another week after that for us to get into the deeper work. So you have 2 weeks now to do that practice, and then go back and refer to the notes and so on. Now, when we deal with prana in the next stage, it'll correlate to the second module of the seven-part course, and we'll go deeper and deeper into that. So rather than going suddenly into new subject matter, we're going to go deep into each phase that you're already studying on the 7 parts. So you're not going to have a panic moment where I've suddenly gone ahead to the third eye and you're still in the Manipura at the navel. So you don't have to worry about that. We will progress deeper within the systems that you're already studying on the 7-part course, and we're going to go deeper. So by the time we get to the second and third month, when we get into really deep stuff, you will have already felt the resonance and the experiences of the practices I've taught in the first part, and then the deeper practices of prana in your body, the garland of letters, the geometries of your body, the heart, and then we'll get to meet Kali in the higher regions. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. Relax, enjoy the experience of the meditation. Learn deep relaxation techniques by breathing into the stomach, and you will see all those techniques. Do some of the deepening practices, read everything if you can, and then come. And even if you don't come fully prepared on the first class, come, join the energy. You will pick up within a week or two within that, after that. That's my promise.
Okay, thank you. I think that was a very helpful explanation, because it's a very common question we're having here. So thank you for that. We've got a question here from Kirti, who wants to know, do we get one-on-one personal training in any blocks that we may be experiencing?
Well, if I look at the last 8 weeks of 7-part course we just did, we have a very active Facebook group. and where I come every day and answer questions. So we had 360 participants on the Facebook group out of a total of 600 plus students in total on the course. So that's a very large number. And I would answer questions from quite a few hundred people there. And I came every day, and I'm there every day, and I do guiding, I do hand holding. And then you are able to also write to me at an email address that will be given to you on the course, where you will be able to write to me, and I normally reply within 24 hours to anything. And in the last course alone, I answered more than 150 emails. So I am very active in social media and in guidance, and I will answer your emails, I will respond to your questions, and the good thing is that you will be with about 150, 200 other people who have already done the course with me, who are also turning into teachers themselves. So they will help you and guide you and give you answers if I'm not able to. And in addition to that, there will be 2 facilitators with us who are my advanced students, who will also be able to answer questions for you. And they will also be on the Facebook group and also respond to emails if I'm not available. But I'm mostly available. You will find, and if you ask any of my other students who have done the course with me, I'm around. And I'm always there for you. You have to trust that. It is our duty with this kind of energy work and this kind of transformative work, to provide support and to be there for you. And that is my duty and my promise to you.
Okay, great. And I can attest to that. I've been around for Raj's previous course, and he really is very, very involved in Facebook and very, very integrative here. So let's get back to the questions here. I got one from Miriam, who says, in what ways can stuck Kundalini energy, meaning not flowing, show up in the body?
Well, I think that we have, because of the amount of dialogue about chakras and chakra cleansing and blocks over the last few years, and also the work in Kundalini Yoga, has brought awareness about these things, which is a good thing. But the subtle esoteric nature of Kundalini has not been fully grasped on this, which is that the nadis, the channels in which this energy flows, is not the Kundalini. This is prana, energy flowing through these passages and nadis. So we have to create an architecture where this nadis can open up. And yes, there are 7 main junctions, but the heart is the most important junction. Then the Manipura, which is the navel, the Nabhi, and the Agya, the third eye. And the Mooladhara is critical. Now, once we understand this architecture, we have to open up these pranic nadis, so that, and at first when this prana starts moving, it can be chaotic. It can create exhilaration, electrical storms, visions, sounds inside you, serendipities, intuitions will start increasing. But when the Kundalini starts to rise, what happens is that it goes through the Shushumna passage in the middle. And this passage is transformative. Your life will change. That means you will find yourself intuitive. You will find yourself well. You will find yourself dealing with people differently. People deal with you differently. And a lot of my students can attest to this, that you may not have those dramatic experiences that people talk about with Kundalini awakening of Shaktipat and magical ecstasy, but you will transform your life. So I want you to come to this with an open mind, to see how transformation occurs in you in a step-by-step way.
Okay, thank you. Let me address, this is, several people are asking a similar question, and you've already sort of addressed this, but there's a lot of misinformation out there about how dangerous Kundalini can be. In fact, let me go ahead and read Marit's question. She says, I felt the serpents going up the spine once in yoga class, but was told that one should not do this too much. So can you address that overall question?
Yes, I think that one must understand that yoga and Kundalini, even though are very similar, they're not from the same root. Yoga comes from what we know of yoga today, especially Hatha Yoga, comes from the writings of Patanjali in the Patanjali Sutras and the Ashtanga methodology of stilling the mind stuff by stilling the body, becoming pure and becoming clear. And then Samadhi occurs where one goes into that bliss consciousness and Turiya state where everything becomes clear and you become elevated and the body becomes pure and you become that Kundalini. And there's a lot of detachment required in yoga. There's a lot of withdrawal, pratyahara. There's a lot of removal of yourself from life. The Kundalini tradition comes from Kaula Tantra. And that means that it is a process of living fully in the world, yet still awakening. Now that means that it is a sensory pursuit. At its very core, it is converting your sexual energy into awakening. At its other senses, it is sensory, the music of your life, the senses of your body, the creativity of your art, the being that you are. This is what Shakti is all about. So Shakti is living in the world, yet keeping an eye on that moon that we talked about earlier. Now, Tantra and Yoga have merged over the last few hundred years, mainly because of the Hatha Yoga Pratipika of the Nath Sampradaya and things like that. But the coming together was not always at ease because Tantra included union, sexuality, living extremes and detached lives, becoming, it had something for everybody. So you could be in the world and be a tantric and awaken your Kundalini and then discover that inner truth directly. So in India, we find three distinct traditions. The Vedic tradition, which is very much about the Vedas and the Upanishads and yoga and the yoga of Krishna and doing duty in the world, doing good in the world, being a good human being, those Vedic ideals. Then there is the path of yoga or the Sankhya philosophy, which is very much about withdrawing from the world, becoming still, and realizing your true nature in bliss consciousness, but by withdrawing. And so both are moksha traditions, that this world is just an illusion and one has to withdraw, while Tantra is the other end of it, which says no. The world is to be enjoyed, experienced, and then transcended. It is not a case of being dirty or detachable or remove yourself from it. So one has to understand that Kundalini has always been feared by certain traditional schools of thinking because it was independence, it was fiery, it was feminine. I mean, think about it. The feminine energy has always been repressed in culture. And why? Because nobody can handle the independence of a Ma Kali, the freedom of a Ma Durga. These are disruptive forces if they come into the world. They are on one hand the mother that can nurture a child, but on the other they are creative and destructive and can shatter egos. Now, no male-dominated culture can handle that. So one has to understand that when Kundalini is talked about, it is that sacred feminine tantric energy we're talking about. So when you do it with that knowledge that you are about to fall in love with yourself. You're about to explore your body, your breath, your being, your creativity, your intuition. You're about to become one with your higher self. And this is the way of the Kundalini Shakti of Tantra that we're going to do.
Okay, I think that's a perfect way to close. This has been just a fantastic hour. I want to thank our viewers for being with us today and for all of your insightful questions. Awakening Your Kundalini Advanced program starts Tuesday, May 29th. And again, you can visit awakeningyourkundalini.com to learn more and to register if you'd like. So before we go, Raja, do you have any final words for our viewers?
I don't know how to share this with you except to vibrate from my heart for you. And as I vibrate from my heart and you feel Just put your hands on your heart. You can cross your hands over your heart and feel the pulsing of your heart. And as you feel a golden energy all around you, coming from me to you, from you, yourself to yourself, blue skies above, a white pearl in the middle of your heart, and just feel the sound of Shri. Shri, Shri, Shri. Shri, 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 Shri. Thank you.
Thank you again, Raja. And thank you to everyone who joined us today. On behalf of all of us at the Shift Network, I wish you well and look forward to having you on this course or perhaps another one in the future. Have a great day, everyone.